Luck-based mechanics in games can truly make or break an experience. Some can be too RNG based, some barely offer any variety due to the worry of making the game too RNG based. This video will cover 5 games with 5 cool luck related mechanics which I think work really well for those games, and I hope you enjoy. One cool mechanic in Clover Pit is how the game brings order to the chaos of slot machine gambling. This game is of course heavily RNG based. The aim of the game is to earn enough money each round to survive the situation you are in by paying off debt, which you do by playing on the slot machine. The slot machine is entirely random, meaning that in order for the game to really be worth playing at all, there needs to be a mechanic which allows the player to control this randomness somewhat. The best way Clover Pit does this is via the Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms mostly simply change the odds of what type of symbol will appear on the slot machine, which gives the player some control but not much. Then however, you have abilities which can make it so when those symbols do appear, they are higher value. So getting those 2 charms in the same run can really boost your chances of earning lots of money. Finally, there are charms which just help you with your luck, such as increasing your odds of getting a pattern if you haven't gotten one in the last couple of turns. On any given run, the problem is always the same for the player. How do I increase my chances of success? But with 150 charms, that problem has a massive variety of potential solutions, with different synergies and strategies to uncover as you go. Randomness mitigation is always a necessary but tricky problem to solve in this genre, but Clover Pit does it well. A cool mechanic in Cuphead is the Dice Man boss design. I reckon I'll do an entire video on the boss design of Cuphead at some point, but I think Dice Man really instills the whole design really well. The way Dice Man works is he rolls a dice that you have to parry. Depending on which number you parry on, you will move up the roulette table that number of spaces. Every space indicates a particular boss. It's the same in each time. These bosses are mini bosses you have to defeat on your way to fighting the actual Dice Man. You can control the roll of the dice pretty well once you get used to it, so it does come down to which boss you actually want to face and when. On top of that, you have safe spaces and you have health up spaces. Safe spaces allow you to inch up the board and position yourself for the boss you actually want to fight on the next roll, and health up spaces are ways to get the player to fight particular bosses outside of just their preference, to get them a bit of extra health. This boss has a lot of interesting things going on, but what I really like about it is what I said at the start, is a perfect summation of the boss design of Cuphead. Every boss in the game has more moves than they will likely use in any given phase, so the player has to learn them all just in case they come up. I don't think anyone has beaten Dice Man without mastering each and every boss you could face, even if you actually only face 30% of them on your way to actually fighting him. Now, it's a certain type of boss fighting mastery I don't see too often in games, and love it or hate it, it's done really well here. Have you ever wanted to play Catan, but instead of building roads and settlements, you are feeding a hungry dragon? That is the elevator pitch for Feed the Scorchpot. For those unfamiliar with Catan, in this game, you have a hexagonal board with large tiles on them depicting resources and have numbers on them as well. You place down buildings adjacent to these tiles and then you roll dice. If the dice equal the numbers on the tiles your buildings are adjacent to, you get resources. This game changes up the formula by having a different goal. Instead of building settlements to get resources to build more settlements, which give you points, you are building settlements on these tiles to get the resources to cook with. At the end of every turn, you take the resources you have gained, combine them with ingredients, and feed them to the dragon. You have 20 years, which are broken up into 4 turns or fewer if you feed the dragon to a certain level beforehand, to feed the dragon until he is satisfied. The game is very streamlined, looks great, and does something which I like. Takes the design, adds to it, innovates a bit, and gives it a fresh coat of paint. One cool mechanic in Dice A Million is how the economy works with both the deck building, or should I say dice building, and the combat in rounds. So each fight you need to roll a certain total number across all your dice in all the rounds. If you roll higher than the minimum target, then you get the difference to spend on improving your deck. So say you need to get 50 in order to progress and you roll a total of 100, then you get 50 to spend in the shop. What's really cool about this is firstly, it rewards the player for being ahead of the curve, creating a satisfying snowball effect. But secondly, and something which you might not clock at first, is that any money you don't spend rolls over into the next round, meaning that you essentially get a head start. So for example, if you don't spend 50 in the shop, you start with 50 in the next round, reducing the amount you actually need to beat that round. So basically 50 damage already done to the enemy, if you want to look at it like that. So it creates a really interesting decision. Do you spend more to potentially make more, or do you save money to give yourself less to make in the next round? The luck mechanic in Roguejack 21 might not be something that is at the forefront of your mind when you initially play, but it is really cool. So basically the way it works is it's a percentage from 0 to 100, and with every increment your luck in quotations increases. What this luck does is it reactively changes what cards you are going to draw. So your deck is ordered and each card is in a stack actually physically in that order. But when you go to actively draw the card, your luck stat can change the card based on how close you are to 21. Now to prove it, this can be seen in this clip here, where I can see that I'm going to draw a 3, but then the card changes to give me a 4 when it enters my hand, giving me a perfect 21. And that's fueled entirely by the luck stat. And there we have it. Hopefully you found this video helpful if you are a developer, or just interesting if you are, well, interested. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, like the video so others can see, and keep on keeping on.